Hello and welcome everybody. I'm RJ, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to manage a remote and local repository using Git GUI. Now, Git is just a simple program that allows you to manage all your repositories. The GUI factor of it is simply a graphical user interface that it makes it quite simple to use compared to using the command line. So the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our remote repository, and to do that you're going to need to create an account with Bitbucket. For this you can go to bitbucket.org. All the links in this video will be in the description, so there's a link there to that. You simply just put in a username, email, and password. It's a free sign. Once you've done that, you can log in and you're going to come into a page similar to this. This is your dashboard. As you can see here, I have 4 repositories currently on my account that I am working on. But what you're going to do to create a new repository is you're going to go over here to create, and you're just going to click there. It's going to bring you to a screen like this. What you're going to do now is enter in a name for your repository. You can see I have a couple from the past here. We're just going to name this one Git Tutorial. Wonderful. If I can spell, that'd be great. And you just throw a quick description in there if you'd like. So we're just going to say how to use Git. If you click this here, all it does is affect whether someone needs to put in a password or not to work with the remote repo. So we are going to leave this on just so that only we can allow people to use our repository if they have the password. Again, the other settings here you will not have to worry about. We're just doing a simple explanation of how to use Git, so it is not that important. Here in language, you can choose which code base you're using. There's a long list of different things you can use. You do not have to select one, but it is helpful, and it will help you when you're working on Bitbucket here. So we're just going to go ahead and select Java. It's a code base I usually work in, but feel free to use whatever you are using. And then just go ahead and click Create Repository. And here you are. You're at the dashboard of your Git tutorial. But as you can see, there's nothing here. If we go to our source, nothing is here. It's asking us to do our first commit. It's just an empty repository. It's just there. It's set up so that we can use it now. So what we're going to do, all we need to do using Git GUI is go into here, click I have an existing project, and this URL right here is what you're going to want to use. Okay, all it is https:// your username at bitbucket.org / your username / title of the repository, place any spaces with dashes, .git. Okay, but if you just go right here, you'll be able to access that very easily. All right, so now we are done with bitbucket.org. We're going to go ahead and download Git. So you're going to want to go to git-scm.com. This is the homepage for Git. And as you can see here just on the right side, there is a download for Windows. There's also different builds for Linux as well as Mac. We're just going to do Windows for today because that's what I'm using. What you're going to get is you're going to get this file here. You just click Save, and that'll download onto your computer. Once it's done downloading, it's right there on my desktop. You're going to want to go ahead and double click that. And it's going to bring up the install page for... First, you may get the security warning, just hit run. And if you get any other warnings, just hit yes. And it's going to bring up the setup wizard here. So all you need to do on the screen is hit next, and next again. Here, the only thing you need to make sure that's changed is that additional icons is selected. All that's going to do is toss the shortcut onto your desktop in quick launch, so it's easier to access. Then you're just going to hit next until we get all the way through. You don't have to worry about any of these things. And we'll just wait for the install to finish here. Alright, now we're going to uncheck view release notes. It's not necessary that you view them. If you do have a reason for viewing them, absolutely, all the power to you, but we're just going to go ahead and skip that for now. And what this is going to do is you're going to get Git GUI, the shortcut put on your desktop. I'll just pull over the Git Bash one here as well. So these are the two that are going to show up on your desktop. We're not going to use Git Bash, so I'll just put that away for now. We're just going to stick with Git GUI as it's easier to understand and much easier to work with. Just go ahead and double click that, and this page will open up here. This is the Git GUI homepage. You have 3 options: create a new repository, which is going to create a local repository on this computer. The second option is clone an existing repository, And what that will do is clone a repository from another location, whether it be remote or locally. So that's good for if you have other people that would like to use your program, or that would like to use your repository. They'll be able to clone it and work on it on their machine. And open existing repository will open a repository that you have stored on your computer. Generally, if you've already opened them, you'll have an open recent repository, which is much easier to use. I usually just click on that, it brings me right to my repository, saves me a little bit of time. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to create a new repository. So we have a remote repository here on Bitbucket, but no way is that connected yet to our computer. Okay, so we're going to first create a new repository, and we're going to choose the directory that it goes in. Just so for ease of access here, we're going to put it on the desktop. So we're just going to go ahead and select we're going to actually go up here to desktop, select desktop. Okay, it's going to put in the directory for us. We're actually just going to add a new folder name there. So not everything's just not splattered on the desktop, so we'll call it Git tutorial. And just go ahead and click create. Alright, and here is the screen for your repository. It can easily be resized to whatever you need it to be. And here, let me just drag over the folder here. There's the folder that we just created. I'm just on my second monitor here. So if we open that up, there it is. You can see that there's a hidden folder called .git. This is the folder that Git uses to understand all the changes and work with your repository. So that's how you know it's your local repository there. So now that we have our local repository, we're going to want to connect that to the remote repository. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the remote tab here, and we're going to add a selection. So you can choose a name. The name is does not truly matter too much. So if you want, you can use a descriptor name such as Git tutorial remote location or a remote repo. But generally what I just go with is I just name it origin. It's simple, and I know that that's where it's coming from. And in the location, you're going to put that URL for the remote repository. So that was the one we got off this page right here. Just go ahead and grab that. You just copy it, and you're going to go ahead and paste it right there in the location, and simply have to click add. What it's going to do, the fetch immediately, it just means it's going to fetch from it right away. There's nothing there, so that's fine, so we'll just add it. So you're going to get this little screen here. It'll prompt you for a password. Just toss in the password you used to set up your account. That's what it's going to be prompting you for. And then it's going to show you that it's success, which means we are now connected. Okay, now our repositories are connected. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new file in here as if we were working in our repository. So we're just going to create our README file. It's usually the first file you create. Oops, made a bit of a spelling mistake there. Let me fix that. Perfect. Go in and we're going to say, okay, Git tutorial. Perfect. Just save up the file. Close it down. Now we have a new file. So now what we have to do is we have to make sure that the Git knows that's there. So what you're going to do is you're going to click rescan. It's going to check for any files that have been changed since the last commit. So you can see the README file is there. But now we're going to want to stage those files so that we can commit them. So it's going to ask you to stage one untracked file. Yes, we do want to do that. Now you're going to say it's in the stage changes. That's what's going to be committed if you hit commit. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is you always need to message with your commit. So I always click sign off here. And what that does, it's going to show that it's signed off by so-and-so with such an email. So I'll just change that to my name and my email. And we're also going to toss a message in there that says we added the README file. Okay, just so if anyone else is looking at the repository, they know what we did on this commit. And then you simply hit commit. And what commit does is that's going to commit it locally on the computer, so now it's saved locally on the repository. The next thing we need to do now is we need to change it on the remote repository. So if we go look locally, it's there. But if we go to remote and we go to our source tab here, you're going to see that it's still empty. Okay, so we need to go ahead and push that up to the remote repository. So go ahead and click push. You're going to see whatever branch you're working on. We're working on master, so select that. you're going to say which destination it's going to. It's remote origin is what we named that before. If you have more, it'll be shown there. And then you're just going to go ahead and click push. It's going to prompt you for the password. So go ahead and type in the same password you used for your account again. And there you go. You can see the success. It'll show you what's been pushed up, 422 bytes of a file. And that's all that was pushed up. Wonderful. It's a success. Now we can just go ahead and close that. Wonderful. Now if we go ahead and refresh the remote repository here, you can see there's our README file, and that's the information that's in it. And we're just going to go ahead and change it here. So we're going to go ahead and just put v.01. You can just change some things through Bitbucket. So we're just going to commit that so that things have been changed. And it's going to show you here that on this commit, we just added v.01. That's what's been changed. Wonderful. And what we can do now is we're going to go remote fetch from origin. So that's our remote repository. We're going to click that. It's going to bring up the fetch screen, and it's going to ask for a password again. Type in your password. There you go. And it's going to show you that something's been fetched. Wonderful. It's a success. There's been a change there. Now what we need to do is, if you look here, nothing's changed. This is because we've just fetched the changes. We haven't applied them to our local repository. To do that, you're going to do a merge. Okay, once you've fetched, you're going to want to go into local merge. You're going to see origin master. We're going to want to merge that. So what that's going to do is that's going to apply the changes to our local repository. That you can see all the changes there, and it was a success. So now if we go down into Git tutorial here, open it up and open the README, there you're going to see it's changed to v.01. So what we're going to do next here is we're going to clone an existing repository. So anyone working on your project that needs a repository on their computer is going to select this here, clone existing repository. You're going to choose a source location again where you want to store that repository. So we can just go ahead and select our remote repository location that we had before. So that's just where the repo is coming from. It can be a local location as well, but you're going to give your remote location to someone. They'll put it in there. And then we're going to select our desktop again for our target directory, which is where it's going to go, and we're just going to call it Git Tutorial 2. Okay, and then you just hit clone. It's going to take a second here. It's going to prompt you for 3 sets of passwords. It's all the same password. You just have to do it a couple times here. So there's the second one. And finally the third one here. And then we're going to come up with our Git Tutorial 2, and it's now going to be set up on the desktop under the file folder Git Tutorial 2. I'll just pull it over here. There it is, and there's the README file as we changed it before up on the remote repository. Wonderful. So we're just going to create a new file here that we are just working on, and decide that we don't want to put on our remote repository. We're going to call it error.txt, and we're just going to put some random words in there. Oops, close that down. Here we go. Save it. Wonderful. So the error.txt now, if we rescan, we're going to see that that's something we don't want on our repository. We've made an error. So what you're going to do is you're going to stage that change. Anything in the green here is what can be reset, what can be deleted. So if you need to delete something, you go ahead and stage it. Then you're going to go to branch and reset. So branch, reset, and you're going to see everything that was in the green there is removed. You have to stage it first or else it won't delete it. If we go back into our tutorial here, you're going to see that that file is no longer there. So it's been reset. So let's say you're working on a code file and you add 10, 20 lines of code and you realize you made a mistake. You can simply rescan, stage, and then reset. And that's going to erase only the lines of code you changed. It's going to help you with your project. Okay. On Bitbucket here, there's a few useful things. You can see the commits. What we've done, you see we've done 2 commits so far. We've added the README file and edited it online using Bitbucket. Any commits that anyone used, you'll be able to see who's done it and the message that they left with it, as well as you can click on it and see exactly what has been changed. Okay, so bitbucket.org is very useful for this, very useful for keeping track of what's been done. If someone makes an error, you can very easily go back, find it, and fix it. As well as on your overview tab, you're going to have a news feed here that'll show what's been done as well. So it's always good to keep an eye on that. Anyways, thank you very much for watching the tutorial. I wish you guys the best of luck with your projects in the future. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to get back to you guys. Good luck using Git.